I was a doubter. I was a doubter about RJ Barrett coming into the season. I was a doubter about the fit of the roster and the offense overall coming into the season. And so far, there's been some growing pains for sure. There's been some good stuff as well. But in the end, where the half-court offense has been clunky, you can't really fixate some of that on the way RJ Barrett has been playing, because RJ Barrett has been playing very well for the Raptors so far this season, and he's really embraced this new role for the team. Let's talk about how important that is going to be for this team going forward. The talk is still a lot about RJ Barrett potentially getting traded, RJ Barrett potentially getting moved, and about overall his fit with the team. I'll be honest, I wasn't a believer. It is, and I'm still not convinced. Let's not go too crazy, but it's absolutely showing signs to be optimistic. And RJ Barrett is adapting his game, changed his game a little bit, and he is doing so extremely well for the team out the gate. Now, we only have a 7-game sample size at this moment. So again, we're not going too crazy with these outlandish claims, but he's been playing well, and I think I think we have to talk about it just because of how good he has looked out the gate so far for the Raptors this season, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. So after the recent game against the Memphis Grizzlies, there were a lot of questions asked to RJ Barrett about adapting to this new role, because he had 27 points in the game. He played extremely well for the Raptors in this one. 27 points. He was 10 of 19 shooting from the field. He was 2 of 8 only from 3, but he's been shooting the 3 ball okay this season. 5 of 7 from the line, but had 6 rebounds, 6 assists to go with it. And he looked really good in this game. Like, you don't need to box score surf after watching that one. You know RJ Barrett played well, was super aggressive attacking the rim, was picking his spots really well, not settling for a lot of bad shots, and just doing what he needs to do for this team. When he was asked about adapting to the role, he's talked about how much he's embraced it. He said he's put his heart into this. He's making sacrifices here. And I have to give so much respect to RJ Barrett for that. As much as I've talked about how they might be better off trading him, and it's still not a great fit for the team, I have to give him a lot of credit, because amidst all of that noise, amidst everything that has been discussed about Barrett, amidst knowing that the Raptors want to trade him, they're actively shopping him, they've been offering him to other teams, they offered him to New Orleans at the deadline, they offered him to Boston this summer, both teams turned it down. He is still really putting his heart into this, as he says here to Sportsnet's Michael Grange. I've put my heart into this. And again, I got to give a lot of respect for that. But still, he needs to show up on the court and deliver. And for sure, so far this season, he has been delivering. Like, he has been. Statistically speaking, it has been good. It has been good. 20.4 points per game, 56% shooting from the field, 37% shooting from 3, and we've really needed extra spacing. He's providing a little bit of that this season. 66% on twos, which is the biggest stat that I'm most impressed with. 66% on twos is just great to have for him. Further down to the advanced stats, what I'm really concerned about, his true shooting right now is at 65%. Still early days, but it's at 65%. Last season, it was at 55. 55, not very good. 65 is extraordinarily good, and it's not going to sustain for an entire season. But just the way he is picking his spots here has been excellent for the Raptors. And I saw a tweet that highlighted how he's choosing his spots more effectively this season, because Cody Wiles posted this one here showing that his usage has gone from last season being 28.7%, which was the highest of his career, down to this season 23%, which is the lowest of his career, even factoring his rookie season. 23% usage is the lowest of his career. But his true shooting right now, it would be obviously the highest it has ever been by a long way. I don't expect it to keep in that way, keep that high, but it's just a showcase again that he's being a lot more effective at choosing his shots wisely for the team. He's embraced this lower role and is running with it. And a lot of the times this season, the Raptors have needed somebody to put pressure on the rim when nobody else is doing it. Like, you'll have games where Barnes, for some reason, isn't doing it. Ingram can't really apply that pressure. He's more of a mid-range guy. Jakob Poeltl's out or he's hurt. RJ Barrett, like, a lot of the onus has been on him to put pressure on the rim. And even against the Spurs, with players like Victor Wembanyama, he was able to do that. Now, still, The Raptors 3-4, so naturally you may see some statistics like this. While on the floor, the Raptors have a net rating of 1.77 with RJ Barrett, negative 0.87. Sorry, negative 1.77 with him on the floor, negative 0.87 with him off the floor. So not much of a huge difference there. Point of note is that even in these small samples, the offensive rating is a little bit better with him off the floor. 120 with him off the floor, 115.9 with him on the floor. So kind of interesting numbers there for sure. But our 2-point field goals go up a lot when he's on the floor. Now, these are all early stats. There's not a very large sample, so I don't want to read too much into those statistics. But just from watching Barrett play, you can see that he's in a good place right now and doing what he can for the team, and he's playing well. So that kind of leads to, we talked about it earlier, leads to some of the questions about him getting traded. What is the right move for the Raptors to go with this season? Well, it's highlighted here by Raptors Report, at Raps Report, who they also do great content for the Raptors here on YouTube. This is in relation to Derek White, who has not been fantastic out the gates for the Celtics this season. And the Raptors in the offseason offered RJ Barrett and the 9th pick for Derek White. And Boston wanted more to make that trade. As much as I've been talking about wanting to trade Barrett and how I would support a trade for Barrett, I don't support this because this is where I have the issues with the Barrett trade. I am on board with moving RJ Barrett, but I don't see a trade out there that is really going to benefit the Raptors. Like, the Raptors want to win this season. They're not tanking. Last season, they were tanking, so it made a little bit more sense. RJ Barrett was offered in the Brandon Ingram trade. He was offered to the Pelicans in the Brandon Ingram trade. The Pelicans decided instead to value the expiring contracts of Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk. So they turned down RJ Barrett, took the expiring contracts and the Pacers pick that we gave them for Brandon Ingram. We've now offered RJ Barrett as well to the Celtics. But the 9th pick and RJ Barrett seemed like a little bit too much for me to get Derek White. I like Derek White. I'm a big fan of Derek White, but that seemed a little bit too much to me. So where I have the issues on an RJ Barrett trade is just that RJ Barrett is good. There are certainly issues to his game. There's certainly some deficiencies in his game, mainly defensively. And offensively, there is limitations to what he can do and how he can gel with other talented players like Barnes and Ingram. RJ Barrett's really good. RJ Barrett is good with the ball in his hands, but is he good enough to justify having it in his hands a lot? I don't think so. So if you can scale down his role and he can still be effective, that is huge because that's what you want from him to gel with the other players in the team. Still, there are issues defensively, but RJ Barrett is a good player who is clearly right now doing it and I believe can still for the rest of the season help this team win. There's not a lot of interest for him around the league, evidently. So any trade you make with RJ Barrett, you're likely making your team worse. Maybe it helps you in the long run, but I don't really see that. I don't really see that either. Teams are reluctant to trade for RJ Barrett. So while you are trying to win, it is more beneficial to have RJ Barrett on this team, I think, unless there is a really good trade out there. If it's a good trade, yes, by all means, I'm comfortable with trading him. But for the time being, I don't think that trade makes you better. And RJ Barrett's playing really good basketball, so I think it's a good moment to keep a hold of him and see how this starts to gel. I talked about it earlier on in the stream, but there are still issues with the lineup of like the core guys of Quickley, Barrett, Barnes, and Ingram. In the tiniest of samples of the minutes with Ingram, Barnes, and Barrett on the floor together without Immanuel Quickley, it's very bad numbers, even though it's a very small sample, again. But there are signs that things are starting to kind of work out for this team a little bit more. And I want to see it develop a little bit more because, as I said, I wasn't a big believer of it going to the season. I'm still not quite convinced, but I would like to see more evidence now to really kind of hone in on that point. Now that we've kind of got a taste for it, I do want to see how it can work. Numbers need to improve. I'm just kind of looking up now. RJ Barrett, Scottie Barnes, Brandon Ingram minutes together. Very bad numbers. They have one of the worst in 120 minutes together. Their offensive rating is 109.09. That's terrible. That might be like worse in the league. Their defensive rating is 125.69. That's, I think only the Brooklyn Nets are worse than that. And that's crazy. It's one of the worst in the league. So as much as there's optimism there, And I don't want to just watch the NBA with a calculator, but you do have to factor in like the lineups there still need some time to really convince me that it's going to work because I'm still not there. But as much as the fit isn't great, I can't blame RJ Barrett for the way the roster is constructed. I can't blame RJ Barrett for the works of the front office. RJ Barrett has been doing his job specifically of what you would expect of him realistically to an extremely high level. And that is great for this team. The defense may not be there, and there are some deficiencies of offense, but for what you would expect of him and the role he has been tasked with, he is doing extremely well there, and he deserves his props. That's it. He deserves his props for it. I'll give it to him. I'm not going to be unfair. He deserves praise for what he's doing for the team right now. And it's on the front office to make the fit thing work out because there are still issues there. But he's played well. He's been super efficient. It's just crazy. It's just crazy that Barnes, Ingram, and Barrett are all above 60% true shooting this season. They've all been playing extremely well this season. And yet when those are on the floor together, the offense sucks. It's a problem. And again, it's very early, but it's just a showcase of some of the fit concerns that exist.